Hey guys, I'm Patrick Mealey, and this is MooMooDa. And today, we're going to be doing the NFL tier list for 2024-25. I know, obviously, you guys have been waiting for this. And, last time out, the Eagles, well, they unfortunately lost 31-9 to the Buccaneers in the wildcard round, ending their season. And also, the Bills made it to the divisional round, but eventually losing 27-24 to that terrible field goal. And obviously both teams missing the Super Bowl again. So yeah, it is what it is. Both teams not winning the Super Bowl as well. But the Kansas City Chiefs beating the San Francisco 49ers 28-25 in overtime. Oh yeah, 25-22 in overtime. Oh yeah, I just remembered. 25-22 in overtime. So yeah. So obviously, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs for winning back-to-back Super Bowls again. And now, we're just going to move on to the tier list to see who will come out on top in 2024-25. So I'm going to leave you right here, MooMooDa. And now, for the NFL tier list for 2024-2025. Just like last year, we're just going to start from Super Bowl favorites, and we're going to go all the way down to number one pick contention. So we'll start from number one pick contention. We'll go all the way to Super Bowl favorites. So, yeah. First, we'll start with the Washington Commanders. What they did last season was pretty pitiful, to say at the least. But, the Washington Commanders, they really impressed me throughout last season. Upsetting big teams. But obviously true that the Washington Commanders should be I think they should be like a weird situation. I think the Washington Commanders should be better. I think I'm gonna put them at a mediocre at best because I thought the Washington Commanders could do something that's never done before. So yeah, I'm gonna put them at mediocre at best. Okay, coming up next, we got the Tennessee Titans. Okay, so the Tennessee Titans are obviously not a good season last season, but I think the Tennessee Titans will do better this season because the Tennessee Titans I think they have what it takes, but the Tennessee Titans I think they should be able to stretch up and see what's yet to come. So yeah, I'm just curious to see how the Titans will do this season. So, yeah, I'm going to put on playoff teams for the Tennessee Titans. Okay, moving on to the New York Jets. Wow. The New York Jets, man, they really had a rebuild in that situation because, the Jets really know how to pull off a bigger season, They had a fantastic offseason signing Aaron Rodgers and they have some big stars in there as well. So yeah, I would recommend the New York Jets to be as Super Bowl contenders because the Jets really know how to put up such a decent team, because the Jets have a very good offseason, and I think the Jets have a good chance to finally be in the playoffs after 14 to 15 seasons. So yeah. Okay, moving on to the Giants. The Eagles' rivalry team, Obviously, the Giants are just very, very similar to what's been done. So, yeah, I don't think the Giants will have a good season this year. I'm sorry, but I'll put at number one pick contention. But number one pick contention, I'm gonna put the Giants at number one pick contention because obviously I'm just curious to find out what the Giants are going to do this season, but unfortunately, I don't think they're going to have a good season. Okay, anyway, moving on next to the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints, they actually came so close to winning the NFC South, which is very strange. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers dominating the NFC South for the last 3 years, and obviously how the Saints can do, but the Saints really, really know how to put up a decent fight. But I think the Saints should know how to put together a team full of obstacles and all that. But I think the Saints, therefore, is going to be a very good team. So I'm going to put them at playoff teams, because there's a chance that the Saints could finally be in the playoffs after Drew Brees retired. So, yeah. Okay, anyway, moving on next to the New England Patriots. Okay, so the New England Patriots, well, I'm pretty decent to see how the Patriots can do. Obviously, this is really, really a bad season. In the last few years since Tom Brady retired, since Tom Brady left for the Buccaneers, obviously, since 2020, the Patriots have been doing worse. Have been doing actually worse than I thought. So I knew the Patriots are going to do something worse than the last few seasons. So yeah, so I totally agree. So I'm going to put the Patriots at the number one pick contention because, in my opinion, the New England Patriots, I think they should really have a bad season, because they know how to put up a decent fight. But no, I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs. But New England, sadly, is one of my top favorites for number one pick contention. Okay, moving on to the Vikings. The Vikings, obviously, they've actually lost their draft pick who died on a car accident in July. His name is Kyrie Jackson, I think. Well, since then, the Vikings, their offense is very difficult to put up since Kyrie Jackson's tragic death in the car accident in July. So, well, you know what? The Vikings, I don't know what the Vikings can do, but, well, okay. I'm gonna put them at missing playoff teams because, they actually lost, Kyrie Jackson, in July, which makes the, Vikings offense so difficult. But, I believe the new quarterback, potentially J.J. McCarthy, should be having some kind of a deal to come up with. So yeah. Okay, moving on to the Raiders. The Raiders, they should be really fine, as well as other Raiders players. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo is not the right choice for the Raiders. They did not make the playoffs last season, unfortunately. But Jimmy Garoppolo, he should be improving with the Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo, like I said, Jimmy Garoppolo, man. I think he left with the Raiders. I don't know. But Jimmy Garoppolo, man, I think that he has a great opportunity. I don't know if he's going to be, I'm sure he'll be on the Raiders this season. But anyway, I'm going to put the Raiders at young but injured because the Raiders really know how to put up a decent effort. Because the Raiders, in my opinion, should be really fine as long as they can improve. Okay, moving on to the Chargers. Obviously, the Chargers, man, they missed the playoffs last season. But in order to continue their strength of making it to the playoffs, the Chargers will not only be in the road to the playoffs, but also they would be, as long as they are okay, they could be on their way to another playoffs. So I'm going to put them at the playoff team because, the Chargers, they know what it takes. Because, obviously, the Chargers, I think the Chargers should make the playoffs because of their bad season last season. And because they have a good opportunity, They have a good opportunity to reach the playoffs. And I think, in my opinion, it's going to be one heck of a shot. Okay, next we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ugh. Jacksonville, you were so close to making the playoffs last season. So the Texans had it in the bag, and unfortunately, that is so unbelievable. But Trevor Lawrence, I think he will rebound from that unbelievable bad season last season. So obviously, I'm going to stick with the Jaguars as playoff teams, because the Jaguars really know how to put up a good fight. But I think the Jaguars know how to push their way forward under Doug Peterson. I think he's with the Jaguars this season, I think. Okay, moving on to the Indianapolis Colts. Okay. So the Indianapolis Colts had a bad season last season, Obviously, the Colts really pulling up some huge upsets. But unfortunately, they did not gain enough wins to get to the playoffs. But they had a really bad season last season. But I think Indianapolis will improve as long as they can. So I'm gonna put them at you know what in my opinion I should stick with I'm gonna choose missing playoff teams because in my opinion Indianapolis can rebound from that bad season last season, and the Colts they really know how to impress the NFL with a very good quarterback and named Anthony Richardson and the rest of the Colts players, and obviously that is a huge one to predict. And obviously, yeah. Okay, so moving on to the Denver Broncos. Well, ever since winning Super Bowl 50, the Broncos, they had really bad seasons, especially Russell Wilson. They tried, but they failed. But, Russell Wilson, actually, signed with the Steelers. So that is good news for the Broncos, which made, very difficult for them to, put their offense to go. But obviously the Broncos, I think they're going to be at number one pick contention because, obviously the Broncos, they should be getting number one pick after this season ends. So, yeah, the Broncos, man, I think they should be number one pick because, obviously they really have, what it takes to be the number one pick. So, yeah. And now moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, so, the Bengals missed the playoffs last season, which was a huge sigh of relief for Mike and Gabe because, the Bills lost 27-10 to that team on Chinese New Year 2023. And, the Bengals, oh, wow. They missed the playoffs last year, which was a huge sigh of relief for Mike and Gabe. Well, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they should be able to rebound from that devastating season. I think they're going to be at Super Bowl contenders because, the Bengals should be able to rebound from what's going on. So, yeah. Okay, moving on to the Bears. They got number one pick, Caleb Williams. So, yeah, Caleb Williams, man. Chicago really needed that quarterback. Caleb Williams to Chicago is very huge. Obviously, Chicago must be a very strong team, And Rome Odunze is actually one of the Chicago Bears that I remember. So, yeah, Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. Yeah, these two stars from the college football of last season should be able to declare themselves as Chicago's heroes. So I'm gonna be putting them as playoff teams because I think Chicago will improve from that bad season last season, and that's the reason why I am choosing Chicago as the playoff team. Okay, moving on. Next, we got the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, man. Bryce Young. So Bryce Young last season really played so well, but the Panthers had a really bad season, to be fair. But obviously the Panthers know how to strike back this season, and obviously that's going to be a very, very typical one. But I'm going to put them at missing playoff teams because I think Carolina should improve and miss the playoffs. Obviously by a 9-8 or 8-9, I'm not so sure, but we'll see. Okay. Moving on next to the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta, man. They really had a tough season last season because this is a very, very tough game they had against the Buccaneers, and obviously in my opinion, I guess the Falcons should be mediocre at best because, I don't think the Falcons should make the playoffs, but, the Falcons really are very, very convincing, but we'll see what they can do. We'll see what they can do under Desmond Ridder. or Kirk Cousins. I'm not so sure. Oh, and Michael Penix Jr. signed with the Falcons, drafted from the Falcons, or yeah, Michael Penix Jr. Just drafted from the Falcons. So yeah, I totally agree because I think the Falcons should still finish at mediocre at best, either a 6-10 or like a 7-10 or something like that. So yeah. Okay, moving on next to the Arizona Cardinals. So Arizona, man, well, that was such a tough pill to swallow for those Cardinals, man. They had a really, really tough and bad season last season because, obviously, you know, things are getting worse for the Cardinals. So, again, I'm gonna put them at a number one pick contention because I don't think the Cardinals should be getting more wins, but I would be surprised if the Cardinals play that great. But anyway. Okay, moving on next to the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, man. It's tough missing the playoffs last season. But, I think they should be improving by the time the playoffs come. Obviously the final day of the regular season should be important for Seattle. But, Seattle, they should be going to the playoffs. But I'm going to put them at the playoff teams because, they should definitely make the playoffs this season, and yeah, I'm just curious to see how Seattle can do this season. Okay, moving on next, we got the Los Angeles Rams. So obviously the Rams, they I think the Rams should be able to do something that has never done before, winning the Super Bowl on their home ground in 2022 was something that Los Angeles needed. Winning 23-20 over the Bengals. And I think the Rams should be able to push forward and move some strength. I'm going to put them at playoff teams again. So, yeah. The Rams should be able to push their way forward and improving from that bad season, the season after winning the Super Bowl. And obviously the Rams, they have quality. They need to step up because if the Rams make the playoffs in back-to-back seasons, I would obviously be surprised. Okay, moving on to Dallas. So Dallas obviously lost to the Packers 48-20. Okay, so I think Dallas needs to improve at that time. So Dallas probably should be able to make the playoffs, in my opinion. So despite me being a Dallas hater, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm an Eagles fan, so don't disrespect Dallas because I really should be giving credit to Dallas, obviously. And I'm going to put Dallas at Super Bowl contenders because, obviously, I think Dallas probably knows what to do. Okay, moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time they lost to the Bills in the wild card round, so, yeah. That was pretty good. So, yeah, the Steelers, man, they signed Russell Wilson. I think they should be able to make to the playoffs, in my opinion. So I'm going to put the Steelers into the playoff teams because, obviously, Russell Wilson, I think he might be able to move with the Steelers. And, obviously, no matter what happens, Pittsburgh might be able to push their way into the playoffs. Okay, moving on to Miami. Okay, wow. And Miami led so much in the AFC East, but they fell just short to the Bills on the final day of the regular season, the final week of the regular season, on the final game of the regular season, you must say, however you say it. But the Bills snatched the AFC title. The Bills snatched the AFC East title away from Miami. And that is a real shock. And they went on to lose to the Chiefs that bad in that frosty weather, But obviously Miami should be Super Bowl favorites. I'm gonna put them at Super Bowl favorites because Miami they should be improving at that time because Super Bowl favorites Miami. I think in my opinion they would be in the AFC East title race with the Buffalo Bills. So, yeah, you never know. Okay, moving on to the Cleveland Browns. So, the Cleveland Browns last time, yeah, they really made the playoffs, and Yeah, they obviously lost that bat to the Houston Texans, and yeah, you should give credit to Cleveland for making the playoffs, but with Amari Cooper at stake, I think Cleveland might have a chance. I think they'll miss the playoffs still, despite the fact that Cleveland has a really strong squad that could potentially finish with at least 7 losses or 9 wins, I must say. But I'm gonna put Cleveland at missing playoff teams because Cleveland obviously I have no problem with that. So yeah. Okay, moving on to the Houston Texans. By the way, the Houston Texans won the AFC South title by just beating the Jaguars on the road and obviously losing to the Jaguars at home. But the Texans end up coming out clutch in this one. Now, the Houston Texans got Stephon Diggs, which was heartbreak for Mike and Gabe. Well, the Texans are a tough team. I think they should be in the Super Bowl contenders. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna put them at Super Bowl favorites because they've actually never made that far before. So I'm gonna put them as Super Bowl favorites. So yeah. Okay, moving on. Next, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, that's the team that we've lost to. The Eagles lost to in the wild card round. Obviously, that was pretty decent. That was a very bad game, by the way, for the Eagles. But the Buccaneers, they should be really proud on what they have achieved, especially going to the NFC divisional round. Yeah, obviously they deserve it. And I think the Buccaneers should reach the playoffs again. I'm gonna put them at the playoff teams, because obviously the Buccaneers have strength. They have a powerful defense or offense, how you say that. They're one of the most powerful teams that I should see in the NFL season. So yeah. Okay, moving on to the Green Bay Packers. That's my Eagles' opponent in the NFL international game in Brazil on September 6th. It's coming up really quick, so I'm so excited to see how the Eagles and Packers will do in Brazil. I'm looking forward to that game. And obviously the Packers, man, last time they obliterated Dallas, which I'm just very excited about. But Dallas got humiliated by that game, and Green Bay, man. Well, I think they should still reach the playoffs. So I'm gonna put them at the playoff team because Green Bay. I think they should rebound from what it is, and they can just jump over and just and they could reach the playoffs eventually. Okay, moving on to the Baltimore Ravens. So, man, that team came close to reaching the Super Bowl. Man, and Baltimore, man, wow, what a decent way to go out like that. Obviously, Baltimore should be able to be Super Bowl favorites again, because obviously Baltimore, I think they have a good chance. So I'm gonna put Baltimore at Super Bowl favorites because they're looking like a hardcore team, and obviously hardcore is what the Ravens are doing. So yeah, number 1 seed is actually not bad for last season. Falling short in the Super Bowl to the eventual Super Bowl champion Chiefs, and yeah. Okay, moving on next, we have got the Detroit Lions. So the Detroit Lions, man, they led 21-7 at halftime, I think, and then the 49ers came back to win the NFC Championship. The Lions, man, they had a good season, falling short in the Super Bowl. Man. I think the Detroit Lions should be able to reach their full potential. I think they should be Super Bowl contenders because of the Lions, man. I think the Lions should be able to escape their NFC Championship loss to the 49ers last season, and I think that I have a feeling that's going to be the Lions' best chance. Might be their chance to go to the Super Bowl eventually. Okay, moving on to the Buffalo Bills. Because Mike and Gabe, obviously, they reached the playoffs for 5 straight years, not making it to the Super Bowl, but their best ever finish in 5 years was actually the NFC Championship game in 2020-21 season, if I call it correctly. And obviously, they lost to the Chiefs. But the Bills, they should be able to reach their potential. And after losing Stephon Diggs, I think they could still be Super Bowl contenders or the playoff teams or whatever. But it can take whatever it takes. So yeah, I'm gonna put them at either favorites or contenders. But you know what? I'm gonna put them as Super Bowl favorites because obviously, with Josh Allen, the Bills could still do some great things. The Bills could do some great things, and trust me, because the Bills have what it takes to finally reach the Super Bowl, I think the Bills can finally do whatever they do. So yeah. Okay, so we're moving on to the Eagles. So my Eagles, well, losing 31-9 to the Buccaneers sucks. Well, obviously because the Eagles, they unfortunately came to a huge collapse after starting the season 10-1. And they collapsed at the end, winning only on Christmas, and obviously losing for the rest of the way, and obviously losing 31-9 to the Buccaneers. But you know what? The Eagles could be Super Bowl contenders again. They should be able to reach the Super Bowl because of that great form. Drafting players from Georgia and Alabama. That's what the Eagles can do. I think the Eagles could finally win the Super Bowl after what they've saw in Super Bowl 57 against the Chiefs. So yeah, I think the Super Bowl could go back to Philadelphia. So yeah, I'm gonna put them as Super Bowl favorites because obviously I think my Eagles have a huge chance of reaching the Super Bowl. So yeah. Okay, moving on next, we got the loser of Super Bowl 58, the San Francisco 49ers. Last season, they came so close to winning a Super Bowl, and obviously not winning a Super Bowl since 94-95 sucks for the 49ers out there. But the 49ers, I think they should be able to they should be able to still reach the Super Bowl or the playoffs or whatever it takes. I think the 49ers have a huge chance to reach the Super Bowl or even beat the Bills. But, we'll see. I'm going to put San Francisco as one of the Super Bowl favorites because, obviously, the 49ers, they really put something together in a very good way. So, yeah, Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, I think they have winning ways of going on. So yeah, the 49ers, they should be able to reach their full potential. And the final team we got in the tier list is, of course, the back-to-back Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. So the Kansas City Chiefs, having won the Super Bowl in the last 2 seasons, with Patrick Mahomes standing on his way, I think they're going to be going for a three-peat, which is something that has never done before in Super Bowl history. So obviously, yeah, Kansas City, man. Well, I think the Chiefs, they probably know what they believe and they should be. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and especially to the Super Bowl winning wide receiver Mecole Hardman, and obviously the rest of the Chiefs players like Travis Kelce and all that. I think the Kansas City Chiefs have what it takes to reach full potential and go for a third straight Super Bowl. But I'm going to put them as a Super Bowl favorites because obviously, how could the Chiefs can do in the Super Bowl like that? But I think they have winning choices. I think Patrick Mahomes should do it again. Okay, so there you have it. That's my NFL tier list for 2024-25. And I'm going to bring MooMooDa back. Hey, MooMooDa, what's up? So, tomorrow, guys, before the NFL season kicks off, I'm gonna bring you my predictions for the NFL season, so stay tuned. And in the meantime, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, and I will talk to you again for the next video. Bye-bye!